Super BS.
What's going on? We're back with another episode of the internet's only podcast in existence, the Super BS Gamescast. I'm your revered, despised, reviled, whatever adjective you choose, host, Sir Jank of Jankerson, and my nightly name though is Sir Josh of Peterson. So welcome to the show. I'm joined here by this by young boy, baby boy. Who am I joined here?
Oh, it's lovable baby boy Brank, just back from the dead and ready to break some bread. I'm glad that I'm joined by you guys. How you been?
Good, man. Good. It's I know we just did an episode last week, but it feels like it's been a hot minute, right?
It's been multiple hot minutes, and I was very sad about all the minutes that we've wasted.
Wasted minutes, the lost hours. And we're also joined here by a man who needs no introduction, who is the owner of a brand new computer, gaming PC, by the way. Who's off to my left here?
It is a man who looks at it as it walks on by, still in the box right there in the living room. I'll eventually get to opening it. But it is Gerald Glassford. Thanks again for bringing me on, guys, for another episode. Yes, I did take the plunge. I did get a new computer, because this one will probably be defunct here, according to what Microsoft tells me this time next year. So I had to take the plunge, get it now.
What'd you end up getting?
I ended up getting an iBuyPower. It's an i9 with 32 gigs of RAM, 2 terabytes as far as the SSD, a 4070 Super. So it was on sale Black Friday. It had been reduced to $12.99. So it's the lowest price i9 with a above 4060 that I had seen for quite some time. So yeah.
So it's one of these bad boys, right? People on the screen can see one of these computers.
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
It looks like the one on the middle. Yeah, middle. Yes.
Nice. So you can see through it. You can see that cooling, that aqua cooling.
I'll never see it because it'll be below my desk, but okay. Yes. I was
going to ask, are you going to be like one of those people that puts the action figure inside or statue inside the covering?
Or worries about having the RGB desk and the RGB mouse and the RGB keyboard and the RGB monitor and all that? No.
You've
coordinating
gotta
outfits,
have them
man.
all.
If it works for 12 years, I don't care what color it flashes. I honestly don't. I just want it to work. That's all I care about.
It surprises me that they're still selling, like Black Friday still sells they still have a lot of like the 8 gig processor computers out there, because they're just terrible. They're like, so I bought a Lenovo Legion for the esports program at the school that I coach at, and that thing just freezes all the time. So there's no point in buying a gaming computer unless it has at least 16 gigabytes on it.
Agreed. And they're still trying to get away with it too, or selling you like 13th or 12th generation chips. Right now, we're in the 14th generation of chips, and people got to know and make sure before they see what a good deal is or is not, check the specs to make sure it's something that is current and going to stay at least relevant for at least 6 months before it goes out of style.
Yeah. That's another thing with like the gaming PCs. That it could last, like being able to play certain games, the stuff that you have could be good for anywhere from 3 months to 3 years, but there's that giant window in between where like you could buy something, be like, oh, I'm going to go play the next, Call of Duty or Mass Effect or whatever, but I'm going to have to upgrade 6 things on my computer in order to play it.
Yeah, that's why I like
but
consoles.
It's worth every upgrade, man, to get that thing, get that sweet PC game. And have you guys been buying tons of your Apple Vision Pros? I know that's a very popular item this year. Very popular. Just in case no one's seen it, we should get that thing on the screen right up there. Let's see if we can find one. Here's an Apple Vision Pro. This baby, dude. Oh man, going for double its value.
$2,600.
Oh
Dang.
man,
Such a bargain.
worth every penny. I was actually looking this up recently because I forgot what happened to it. I've heard it might be discontinued here soon, just because like no one's buying them.
Well, I just want to
That's what
know
I was
how.
hearing. I hear that.
Well, I just want to know how much more it is than the MetaQuest 3 or the MetaQuest 3S. That was so heavily promoted on Black Friday. So, yeah, I just wanted to
I'm
know.
gonna be honest with you guys. I almost pulled the trigger on a MetaQuest 3 this past
Really?
weekend.
That one with
Why
Yeah.
did you not do
they
it?
were doing $75
I
gift
mean-
cards. We talked about it on the Cosmos. They were doing $100
Yeah.
gift cards even. So, yeah.
Wow, we woo.
I mean, honestly, like it's one of those things that I want one, and not for really any great reason in particular, but it has that that Mobile Suit Gundam VR movie / game on there where you're in the cockpit and you can control like the fight scenes and stuff. But I sat there and thought about it. I'm like, yeah, I don't really need to spend that $300 just for that one thing. It just didn't seem
Yes,
like
you
it was a
do.
great idea. I wanted to, trust me. If I were the kind of person that just could throw away, had that kind of disposable income, I would have totally purchased it.
Then you would have
but,
gotten an Apple
in
Vision
hindsight-
Pro. That is the definition
don't-
of throwing away money right there.
That's what Despise One does, man. He
That's what I do.
burns money, actually.
Why
If he
everyone
doesn't
despises
spend
me.
enough, he burns it.
True,
Did you buy anything, Jank Despised One, for Black Friday?
No, actually, well, okay. So I bought some Gundam Blu-rays to go into my collection. I'm a big Gundam fan, if you didn't know that. But I bought some Blu-rays from Crunchyroll.com's sale Black Friday, but it was like a week before Black Friday. But yeah, that's what $20, man, for things that are normally $75. So I feel like I got a good deal. What about unfortunately I didn't buy any games, which I we just can't do that this year. But
I'm
what about
looking
you
at
guys?
these
You get-
Gundam movies. Which one did you buy? Did you buy Mobile Suit Gundam Movie Trilogy, Mobile Suit Gundam 0083 Collection, Mobile Suit Gundam F91? Which one were you talking about,
okay,
man?
so I got F91.
Okay, nice.
I got Char's Counterattack.
I don't see that one, but that sounds
Okay,
good.
I got Mobile Suit Gundam ZZ Collection 2.
I didn't see that. I haven't seen that one either, man. They have a lot of these then.
Oh yeah, Victory Gundam was the other one I got.
Victory Gundam. Did you get Gundam-san? Do you have Gundam-san?
No, I don't actually know what that is. I gotta do a little more research on that. But I like the more serious stuff. I don't want something that is just kind of like cartoony, not serious, and not worth watching.
You love all the Gundams, though. That's your favorite thing. I did buy a gaming thing, unlike you two heathens. I guess Gerald kind of did get a gaming thing with a gaming PC. I got a 2 terabyte Seagate Xbox SSD finally, so I could stop playing Tetris with all of my games and actually enjoy playing them and not have to wonder, can I download Stalker 2? Or any of the other games that I would have loved to download, but I've not been able to.
Okay, how much? What was the damage?
It was $193, but I had a regular Xbox 1 terabyte SSD, so I sold that for like $90 on eBay, and then I had tons of Amazon points, so I actually spent like $20 total.
Okay, oh, that's not bad
So,
at all. What?
Yeah.
Did you ever get rid of your PlayStation Portal? Or
Portal?
whatever?
No, I still
Yeah.
have that sitting on eBay. I had somebody offer me $60 less than I was asking for it, so
You're gonna
I may
get
be
that.
the proud owner of a PS Portal because I'm not going to sell it for less than $100 of profit. So it is, yeah, and I don't mind. If I have a PS Portal, maybe I'll use it to play Infinity Nikki, right? I mean, that's what we're all about, is Infinity Nikki on this podcast. I'm getting a trailer on so you boys can see it too, because this is what we play here at Super BS. Do you guys remember Infinity Nikki? Here.
Yeah,
if you
actually, I was
can,
going to talk
share
about
this
that.
with all of our Infinity Nikki friends, Gerald.
There you go.
This is
Okay.
what we're all about.
Let's jump on this for a minute. All right, so this currently is sitting at 8s and 9s from critics who have had a chance to play it yet. Are you guys going to check this game out at all?
I mean, I am. It's free, and it's from
it
like
free?
I don't know. I guess this is a YouTuber. Sorry, I didn't mean to play YouTube videos, but yes, it is a free game. So starting tomorrow, you could play it. But it looks like it has like Breath of the Wild style, like traveling and stuff. So, and it's
Yeah.
got some type of like, it's got outfits, but no, it has something to do with like the outfits have abilities. So
Yeah, that's what I was
yeah, I
hearing.
mean, I'll try it out, right? Like I tried what was that one called? Genshin Impact.
I like that
But
one. I played that for a few weeks.
yeah, I tried like a minute or two of it. I didn't love it. This one might be the same way, right? But the reviews are saying it's a 9. So
Yeah.
I have nothing to lose but some time. And, like I said, I mean, you're seeing our
You turn
Nickies,
into
if
the
you're
cat.
watching,
That's
turning into
interesting.
cats. This is what we're all about, okay?
It's gonna be
On
one of
this
those ones that
podcast.
is highly appealed to by teenage boys. Like, I need to
Uh,
find the shortest skirts.
This is good, dude. This is a stellar blade. If I've ever, no, this would be very inappropriate as a stellar blade. I even just like trying to find just gameplay that's not like about costumes is hard, but that's because I think the game has a lot of like costumes.
Yeah, I think that's the point of the game. You'll never understand me like Nikki.
Yeah.
That was an exercise in
no.
futility right there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's trying to find the right Nikki video for you guys was impossible. I mean, there's too many good ones, so.
No, this is what my oldest daughter expressed interest in playing this one, so we might check it out. It doesn't look like something that's gonna hold my interest, so but I mean I'll definitely hang
I mean,
over her
it's
shoulder.
free
and watch her play.
$99, bro. So,
Yeah,
I mean, there's no
I
real
already
negative.
I already don't have time to play the games that I paid for, so that's an issue.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I've been playing Visions of Mana for the past 2 months.
Yeah, I mean, Visions of Mana is a pro-elite game. I'll put that gameplay on the screen so you all can see it. I mean, I love Visions of Mana, like we've talked about every single week, so I don't want to belabor it. But it is just like a really cool looking game. Visually, it's pretty exceptional. But yeah, I've kind of fallen off a bit. I just haven't had the time.
Yeah. Yeah, so that's what I've been playing it a little bit before I go to sleep at night. So I'm on. I just got to like remember in the beginning of the game where they showed the girl gets turned to stone. I can't remember what her name, Riza or whatever. Isn't that her name? I don't remember what her name is. Anyways, but she's turned to stone. So I just got. You go back to that village at one point in the game just to see, for like a quest you get sent on. But it's. I don't know where I am and how many are. In terms of like percentage wise of the game is done, but I'm committed to keep going at this point.
Yeah, I mean it's I don't think I'm gonna be like you. I've been too busy playing the Call of Duty. I've got a video of that if you guys want to see it. But I'm a Call of Duty boy. I have not even touched the single player in so long because I'm having so much fun with the multiplayer. It is just it's candy, right? It is like just ultra candy. So, have you still been playing that, Gerald?
I still a couple times, but then I tried Stalker 2, and then I got more into WWE before Indiana Jones. I was even thinking about maybe buying an Indiana Jones game before Indiana Jones just to get in the mood. But I've been actually watching a couple Indiana Jones videos instead.
What Indiana Jones game were you thinking of buying? And I'll throw on a Indiana Jones trailer so people can see
I was thinking about getting like maybe even thinking about going way back when to Fate of Atlantis, or
yeah,
maybe
the
even
point and
just
click,
the
right?
old school Temple of Doom. I have Temple of Doom as far as I'm able to play it on one of my some odd thousand games I have on my hard drive over there, so I could go. In fact, I probably got more than that on Indiana Jones, so I could probably go back and try a few out if I can. So reminds me, I don't even have to buy one. I could just go back. I got it all on that hard drive over there. So yeah,
Yeah.
there you go.
Do you have them on like playable on PC, or are they in your Steam account?
No, they're on a hard drive modded with hundred 100,000 games on it. That was one of those teams, those emulators. So yeah,
nice.
Just gotta find the right. The only thing is when you play it, you gotta find the right emulator for it. If you don't have the right emulator for it, then you gotta find the right emulator for it. So that's always very frustrating. So
this game comes out this week, right? Or is it next week?
it's the 9th. So it's next week. So it's next week, the 9th, and then the Video Game Awards the 12th.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm pretty excited for the Video Game Awards. They're tomorrow night, right?
No, they're the 12th.
The Video Game Awards are the 12th. Are you sure?
Let me see. Hold on.
I'm pretty sure they're the 5th.
Okay, you could be right on that.
Yeah. Oh, you're right. December 12th. I don't know why, but I had like the 5th.
It's the 12th.
Yeah, I put it in my
That's
calendar.
why I did. I just typed it up on a search, and I didn't actually look on the site. Just said the Game Awards 10th anniversary, December 12th, the Jeff Keighley Fest. Please watch Jeff Keighley for 3 hours. Enjoy. There you go.
Well, I'm sold.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a I mean, there's parts of the Game Awards that I've always enjoyed, right?
Mhm.
Like I don't know, it's fine for what it is, but it's definitely not the most exciting of all the awards to watch. I mean, I'd say it's like, for me, it's under the Microsoft press conference. I think that's my favorite
Yes.
of all of
I
them,
agree.
but I do like the Game Awards. Like, I watch it almost every year. I think it's just I feel like every time I watch it, I'm just less excited by the games
Well,
that are there anymore.
For me, it's just about, because they're all hit a pattern. They all hit like a CG trailer, and you're supposed to get excited over a CG trailer, and I'm like, just show it when you have gameplay. I don't want to
Yeah.
see it like so far. If you're just telling me like there's a Mass Effect game, okay, that's coming in 5 years, just show a logo. Good. We're good until you can show me gameplay. I don't want to know that you've got a game coming out next year and you can't show me gameplay, because it's probably, if that's the case, you're probably not going to be coming out next year. It's just, at this point, it's just pretty much rudimentary, the same thing. And then I hear the stuff behind the scenes. Josh and I talk about it on the Cosmos, where it's just, you hear all the stuff. And then I have a friend, one of my co-hosts on the Lakers Fast Break. He is financing or helping to finance a game that's ready to go. It's on Steam and Epic Game Store any day now, entitled Corrupt.
Oh, okay.
They initially
Wait, what's the game called?
Corrupt, Coreupt. It'll be on Steam and Epic. It was supposed to be out last week, but Epic said, "Hold off. Can you put it on ours too?" So they're just getting the word on when to finally do it. But yeah, you can wishlist it now on Steam and whatnot. So yeah, if you're in the fighting genre, it's made by a one-man developing team. So just right now the thing was that behind the scenes, what they were, I think I talked about it with you, Josh, about how much how much they were offered as far as to put a spot, like a 15, 30-second spot on one of the previous Jeff Keighley fests. So yeah, it's kind of pricey when you hear like, $500,000. You hear, those numbers being tossed around as far as I'm concerned. 50, 150, 250, 300, depending on how long you want to play it. It just seems like it's now like a for-profit deal. It's like microtransactions.
Yeah.
Now even that is a for-profit deal, Josh.
Yeah, oh, absolutely. But I mean, people still flock to it every year. People love it. They show, as long as they keep showing those trailers, people are gonna. It's like the Super Bowl for video games.
Yes, I mean the audience, from a share perspective, we cannot argue with Jeff Keighley. I've had differences with what he is and how he's presented things and how he's dealt with things from time to time. But no one can argue with the numbers as far as the amount of eyes that are on that product when it comes down, like especially the VGAs. Summer Games Fest is not quite at that level, but the VGAs, you're talking about into the tens of millions, I think, overall as far as impressions. So yeah, that's as much as we want to bag on Jeff Keighley, the results are there.
People keep. I mean, that's why the Summer Games keeps going on too, because people are paying attention.
And that's why you could throw a DLC as part of one of your Game of the Year kind of candidates, and also a remake as well.
Yeah.
Oops, did I say that out loud? I'm so sorry.
Oh, come on. We love those games.
Doesn't matter. Love them or not, they're still not Game of the Year contenders if you talk about actual Game of the Year contenders.
Yeah, I mean, I wonder if they would have not labeled that series as a remake, but instead like a retelling, if that would have been more acceptable for people who have that same opinion as you do.
Yes. It's disappointing. there were other games. I know this is a kind of a down year still for video games, but there were still games out there that you could have put in the spot of those two. But that was last week's. We talked about that last week. So yeah.
That was last lifetime. But speaking of things that are new, not trying to derail Jank from taking over, but Gerald mentioned me off podcast that he played a little new game that came out last week that we didn't get a chance to talk about. How was it? You loved it? Do you know what I'm talking about? It's a post-apocalyptic game.
I really wanted first off, shout out to the team. They've worked hard on getting it playable. They should not have released it when they did. They should have waited another 2 to 6 months to release this because they had a whole bunch of, pardon the pun, jank to it. But
man, we don't want him in there.
No more of that. Get that out of here.
It is difficult to play as a first-person shooter. I mean, it's hard.
Butt cheeks.
It's all radiation animals and stuff like that I've and monsters that I've come up against. It's hard to play. It's really hard to play, and it detracts from the enjoyment of it for me. But some people like this. I mean, that's the trend in this past 10 years since Bloodborne. The harder it is, the more some people just go towards it and are attracted to it. So, but I tried it.
Yeah,
I tried it.
So. I want to try it. That's why I bought that 2 terabyte internal. I just don't have the 150 gigabyte drive space to put it on there without deleting a bunch of games
playing it
that
on
I
the
know
cloud.
I want to play. Oh, okay. How is it run on the cloud?
Pretty
Does
smooth.
it look okay?
Yeah, pretty smooth.
Okay.
At least because based on, here up off my internet, it's been pretty good so far. I didn't get too much of a lag. And shout out to the team. I'm very happy to hear that they sold 1 million units in the first 24 hours.
Yeah, that's awesome.
According to reports. So if that's the case, then I'm really happy for the team, especially under what circumstances they had to. But I still think they should have probably released this in 6 months anyways, because it was a sluggish start, to say the least, a buggy start. So
yeah, being able to hit 1 million quickly is great, especially considering we've got some other games we might bring up that may or may not have hit 1 million that needed to hit a lot of millions of copies. I think everybody knows what I'm referring to.
Okay, JSJ, just to answer your question, yes, I have seen the, I guess, whatever materials available for Exodus. It looks like a beautiful game. I don't know that much about it still, though. I wish there was more information out there.
Exodus? I don't know what this is at all.
It's from the Bioware devs are making it. It kind of looks like what some of the old Mass Effect cinematics look like, but not a lot more information is out there on it so far. So I don't know when it's coming out or what the game is about.
Yeah, I don't know much about Exodus, but I was referring to something that you want to discuss in the news when it came to games that may or may not have sold a lot of money. Not Exodus, but that sounds cool. Yeah.
Okay, Gerald, anything else you've been playing, man? I know you're excited for Indiana Jones.
I am. Like I said, I was telling Brank, just WWE was getting back into a little bit of 2K, just a little bit of that, but I do plan on maybe trying out some of the older Indiana Jones games before next week, and then absolutely getting into Indiana Jones on the 9th. Yes.
And I played 2 quick things on my Steam Deck. Don't know if you ever heard of it, but if you want to show the video,
what's that?
I was playing one of the funnest games that I finally got around to this year, Balatro.
Yes.
Have either of you guys played it?
No, but I want to.
You should.
It is game of the year candidate.
The first thing I thought is the first thing I thought after playing is why didn't I just pay $15 for it? It's so much fun. I wait for it to be on sale on Steam, and then if you have Apple Arcade, it's free. So you can play it on, or it's free. It comes with Apple Arcade service. Okay. So you can play it on your iPad, your computer, your whatever phone. And it is a game that is great as a phone game. You're essentially just playing poker. But there's a bunch of different rules and ways to get chips. And it's just a joy to play. It's just a really fun game. I'd say my only beef with it is because of the gameplay, it's a roguelike, right? There's not really progression elements. you're just going to keep beating the ante, and the ante gets bigger each time. Then you have like a boss that you fight in terms of like they have a different move that like lowers your types of flushes or whatever. But it is so much fun just to like get your queen that has like a multiplier on her and then use her as like a 2-pair and then to discard your hand and pick up other stuff. It's like a best 5-card hand for those who play poker, right? I think it's not Texas Hold'em. It's the normal poker, right? I think Texas Hold'em is 2 cards, right? And then you make the best hand.
Yeah,
this is the normal
hand.
way where it's like the 5. But yeah, it's just super fun. So I picked that up in the Steam Autumn Sale. And then I also picked up and played a little bit of this tiny game called Mini Shoot Adventures. Do you guys know what it is?
No. It looks fun.
Yeah, it's like a bullet hell Zelda-like. So essentially you play as a little spaceship and you go around a world like unlocking, the map and getting different abilities like boosting and jumping, and you fight guys and get level up, which you can like upgrade your ship. And then you can, just for those watching the video, you can, dive around. You can get like more bullets coming out, right? Like you start with 1, then you can upgrade that, get 2. I just finally got 3 unlocked. There's like races you can do to get like different. I mean, I don't know what the reward is yet, but there's a race between this guy that you can get. And yeah, it's just a very fun Zelda-like because it is a bullet hell, but it is also Zelda. So yeah, it's a very, very neat idea. I've had a blast playing it. I just wanted to call out those 2 games. Those were 2 of the games I got in the Steam Summer Sale.
Yeah, I was looking at the Steam sale going on right now. There's a lot of really great discounts on there. I'm torn though because I own a lot of them on console already, so I'm sitting there wondering like, yeah, I could buy some of these old Final Fantasies and Castlevania is another series I keep wanting to go back to, but what's the motivation for me to play it again on Steam as opposed to playing it on the PlayStation or Xbox?
Yeah, I mean, Castlevania, I don't know why you'd buy a third. You already have it on PlayStation and Xbox, you said?
No, I have it on Xbox. I have them both on Xbox, but I've been wanting to play them again. So I was like, oh well, if I play it on Steam, it'll be at least maybe a new experience. But I don't know if it's even worth it at that point, though.
Yeah, I mean, if you had a Steam Deck like me, no, but if you had a way to play it portably, I would say, yeah, it might be worth it, right? But it's hard to go back to old games. Like the only way I've been able to go back to them is in like new experiences, right? Like even remasters for me are really difficult because it's just like the same game, with slightly better graphics. Yeah. But it is a lot easier to go back to it when it's like, oh, I've played this on my TV. Now I can hold it in the palm of my hands and I'll play like, I still will rarely finish it, but I'll play like a lot of those games.
Okay, so let's jump into some news here. Like Brank, you had sent an article out earlier about Dragon Age, so that game seems to not be able to avoid being in the news. But what was going on with that?
Yeah, it's just it was not selling well at all. I didn't even know we were going to talk about that today. We've discussed it a little bit earlier, and I've got some of the video up so you guys can see it. But it seems like they're doing damage control. So the director of the game, the one that I guess, according to the doctor, had said kind of disparaging remarks about the series in the past, mentioned that in the future Dragon Age games, all of the choices, Veilguard and the ones that they didn't include, Inquisition, Origins, and 2, may count, right? Like, but I think the subtext, right? The reading between the lines is like, we want to make a sequel, right? And it just doesn't sound like it's going to happen because while we don't have direct sales numbers, it sounds like Dragon Age was, for all intents and purposes, a flop. So I don't know. I don't see us getting a Veilguard sequel or a Dragon Age sequel, but I just thought it was pretty interesting that was brought up, right? And this is the IGN review.
Well,
if you're wondering why the words didn't come up.
All right, let me pose some questions to you guys here. All right, do you think that they're wanting to do more Dragon Age, or they're talking about? I guess they're not making expansions for it, but do you think they're saying that because the game did bad? So like, well, maybe people will want it if we actually make something that is affected by the choices we've made in previous games, or do you think that there were legitimate plans for that before the game was so critically lauded?
lauded or condemned, right?
Or
like I feel
condemned.
like
Well,
it was.
well, I don't want to say it's condemned because depending on
because I guess some people did.
a lot
It
of
has a
people,
high Metacritic.
IGN, Sifted, those outlets really endorse the game. So
Not condemned. Sorry, I mean before the game became so controversial, I guess.
Yeah, that's it. Probably, yeah, because it's definitely I mean, I personally think it's trying to get people to be interested and buy it now, saying like, "Hey, play this because not only will you use your old choices maybe in the future game, but these choices will matter too. So if you don't play this one, guess what? Your choices won't go." Like that's kind of what I feel like they're saying. I could be extra sensitive. They made a lot of decisions with this game that turned me off of it. So, yeah, I mean, you can look at the combat now. This is not, I mean, it looks nice and fluid, but this also is not how any of the Dragon Ages were played. They were mostly tactical turn-based RPGs, and that's not a bad sign, like changing the type of combat. But I also, from what I'd heard, it was just like God of War 2018, God of War Ragnarok combat. No issue with that, but I don't want it in every game. And I didn't need it in Dragon Age. And I don't know why you changed a lot of the characters from the old games. And I also don't know why you decided that all of our choices didn't matter when Inquisition, like the biggest thing was you had the keep and you made all those choices, right? From Origins and 2. Like one of the biggest kind of benefits of the Mass Effect or of Dragon Age and Mass Effect for this thing, the Bioware games, is that your choices seem to matter, right? Like it was a continuation. Like it didn't feel like you were just reading like or watching a movie that had no relationship to another. You were watching a sequel.
Yeah, right. So what's cool about that? Like Andromeda, say what you will about Andromeda. It was not a great game. I mean, I didn't hate my time with it, but the choices that it did pick up on your save files from old games. So choices that you made in those games, you actually hear characters like talking about them in certain sections of the game. You're like, a long time ago, there was this, or this, and they're talking about something that you did in the previous Mass Effect games, which was really cool. But, yeah, I mean, it's nothing like the switch from Mass Effect Trilogy to Andromeda was nothing like the switch from Inquisition to Veilguard.
Yeah, I just feel like it's lost a lot of people because of a myriad of reasons. And my personal thought is these articles are coming out because this whole team may be on the chopping block, right? We've talked about this multiple times on the show since we've returned, but the gaming industry is not in the best place from like the beginning of last year to now. There have definitely been way more layoffs than job creations, right? Like I could probably name I think the number is closer to 40, 50, 60,000 people that lost their jobs in the gaming industry between last year and this year. It's like a crazy number. Yeah, I don't know. If I were the Dragon Age team, I'd be concerned because the rumor is they sold 1 million to 1.5 million copies of a game that took roughly 10 years to make. By all accounts, it's going to cost at least 250 million, I think was what they were saying. So they need to sell 5 million copies roughly. Yeah, 1.5 million is not probably not going to do it. So we'll see though. I mean, I could be wrong. Like if the game's great and maybe I'll get to it later, like good for it.
Yeah, and it might have one of those like life over time scenarios where it sells more. The more it goes on sale places and people buy them like you because it dropped beneath $30, so maybe it's finally time for me to pick it up. So who knows, you might get something like that. But yeah, I mean, I'm still waiting to see what the actual numbers are for this game.
I don't know if we're gonna get it, and it's already gone on sale, which isn't unusual. The game's only been out for a little bit over a month, so like it is. I think I saw it for $50 on Black Friday.
I
so
think it
like
was
a $20.
62 as I saw. Yeah, I'm still waiting for the price to go down on it, but I do plan on getting it at some point.
Oh, okay. I saw it, I believe, for $50.
Oh, nice.
Like yesterday or the day before. Maybe it was $55. I know I saw 62 because that's what you can pay right now on Xbox if you have Game Pass. You can pay 62 and pick it up digitally. So 62 is pretty common, but I think I saw it for as low as 50 at one place. For me, like the number keeps going lower and lower, especially the further I get removed. I'm definitely like a YOLO. a FOMO style person when it comes to gaming, right? Like if I miss that first week or that second week, and this goes for me and most entertainment in general. I don't know if you both feel the same, but if I miss a movie or a game for the first or second week, it's oftentimes I will forget it and I won't even touch it, right? Till a lot later because I'll miss out on the zeitgeist.
Yeah, that makes. Yeah, I mean, I'm the same too. If I don't catch a movie in theaters, like I don't watch it until it comes. I mean, chances are I won't watch until I forget about it, and that's probably several weeks after it comes out on DVD. And gaming's kind of the same. Like I'm a budget gamer, so if I miss something on release week, I probably won't pick it up again until one of you guys reminds me that it came out.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. I don't know. Gerald, do you feel that way, or are you somebody who will not? It doesn't
Well,
matter
by
when
that
the
time
game
it might come
out.
out on Game Pass, and I might just re-up my Game Pass to get it. So,
well, yeah, this is a EA game, and most of those games come out on Game Pass. I mean, Star Wars Jedi Survivor, I want to say was 9 months. So, yeah, it will probably be on Game Pass at some point. So you don't have to pay for it at all if you're willing to just wait. I mean, that's that I would assume, unless they're going to make an exception for this.
Okay, so something was going on with Ubisoft you guys were talking about earlier. Let's jump into that for a minute.
Show up that X-Defiant. Show up that X-Defiant, the game that will no longer exist.
Gerald, you let him know. Let him know what's going on.
Well, I guess the plan is X-Defiant is going to be X'd off the face of the earth in 2025 as it's being shuttered, and also I think two studios are being shuttered as well by Ubisoft as well.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's.
Let me see which studios they are. You can keep discussing X-Defiant while I look those up.
X-Defiant was I guess what it was their
Call of Duty.
Call of Duty is shooter, but it had elements of a lot of their previous games molded into one. As far as the influence of that and some of the characters you can interact with and whatnot. But yeah, just really not setting the world on fire. So and we see with Ubisoft, it's either like a big hit or a big miss. So.
And it's funny because I heard a lot of good things about X-Defiant. Like the people who played it said it was good. Yeah. It was a good game. It just wasn't great, right? Kind of the same thing I heard about Concord. That's what I heard about X-Defiant. Hey, it's a fine game. It's decently fun to play, but it's just not great. And like looking at it now, like this map looks like a blast, like a plane that you go through. Real quick to talk about those two studios, Jank, I didn't want to cut you off, but they're closing San Francisco and Osaka. Kind of interesting because San Francisco, the game that I know they worked on was Watch Dogs 2, which was honestly my favorite Watch Dogs game. And then Osaka was interesting because people are always picking on that. It was their only Japanese studio, and they have no connection with Assassin's Creed Shadows, which is pretty funny as far as things go, right? Like you make a Japanese game, and their only Japanese studio is having nothing to do with it. So I did think that was a little bit funny.
Ironic. Yeah. Well, okay, so X-Defiant is just a free-to-play shooter? Is that because I don't know too much about this one? So
it was a live service game, games as a service, GAS as people like to call it.
Because what I read about it, today was that the person who made it like had a lot of faith in it succeeding. Like that's why they kept the servers on for so long.
So one, they have history to back them up. That director, right? Like Rainbow Six Siege was not successful at launch. And that game ended up being one of the most popular multiplayer shooters for a long time. I don't know how it's doing nowadays, but it definitely came back and fell into the zeitgeist.
Same thing for
Honor,
which
they had
as well.
Yes, yeah. That's exactly what I was bringing up. For Honor. So yeah, they've done it before, so I don't blame them for thinking that. But we also can't forget they made Hyperscape. Do you guys remember Hyperscape? No. Okay, Hyperscape was their battle royale. It was like very vertical. I never played it, but it was also a free-to-play game, games as service. If you like Google image it, and I'll maybe try to get a video so you guys can see too in a second. It was
you know what? I remember this. Yes, I don't know what you're talking about.
And so it's a funny thing that Hyperscape just totally disappeared. It's doesn't
I
exist at all
remember
anymore.
now that you're showing me pictures of it.
Yeah, so I never played it, but yeah, I don't blame the XDefiant director for thinking like, hey, we're gonna succeed. They weren't doing themselves any favors by coming out the year of one of the best Call of Duties, and also there's just too many games of service, right? Like I was playing Apex for 4 years, and that was the only game as a service game that I could play because it took up too much time to play more than one every day.
Yeah. I mean, at least they didn't go the way of Concord by being shut down, the same week it came out.
No, I mean, XDefiant definitely survived much longer than that. I think, what was it, like 5-6 months that it survived? They did a fine job. And honestly, it looks like a much more fun game to me than Concord did. But yeah, it is sad to see what was probably an inevitability happen and Ubisoft just being, I don't know. I don't even know what you can do, right? Like, they're just trying to get a games as a service going, and they're struggling hard outside of Siege, and it's like sad, right? It's like seeing somebody who is like really talented try to make money and fail over and over and over again. Because Ubisoft games are great. All of us on this podcast have loved them. I assume Gerald, you're the only one I can't speak for, but I know on this podcast we've talked about the Assassin's Creed games and Far Cry games and talked about enjoying them.
Depends on which one,
sorry.
but yeah, I have.
But you enjoyed, right? Yes. Some of them.
Oh yeah, Assassin's Creed Black Flag is still legendary to this day.
Yes.
Assassin's Creed 2 is still great. I remember when I was working at the game store, Assassin's Creed had just come out. Best year ever for gaming, 2007. So yeah, absolutely. I remember those days, and then what it's evolved into. Was it Unity? That was the terrible start.
That was the French one.
Yeah, that was the French one.
That was the one that had all the bugs.
With the bug eyes.
Yep.
Yeah, I think
that was the first multiplayer one.
I think that.
Yeah, it was first
that's
multiplayer one.
Threw me
that
off,
trailer was so cool
in the entire series. And they, they wanted to go Call of Duty every year, and that was, I think, a mistake. And then we'll see. Shadows might bring me back in. Looks good to me, but
I hope it's good.
But there, that it just also throws me off, like the overarching storyline that they were supposed to have, and it just.
I hate those.
They said they're resetting all that though with this one.
They need to stop that. Layla and all that stuff was getting so annoying. Every time I was taken outside of the Animus, I was frustrated in a modern Assassin's Creed.
It's jolting. Like, it really does
Yeah.
pull you out of the experience.
And you're just be like, I don't want to do this. Let me not do this part. This part sucks. Like, even give me honestly, if they gave me a skip option, I would probably take it. After they got rid of, what was the main character's name from the first 3 games that actually had a story that I grew to care about? Not Altair, Desmond. Yeah. Desmond's story was the last time I cared about a character outside of the Animus. Stop trying to force it down our throats. I truly still think to this day, Assassin's Creed would have been a better game if there was no outside of the Animus stuff. And it was just Ghost of Tsushima style. Hey, this takes place in this, right? Like, I don't think the Animus and that whole concept adds anything to it, if I'm being honest.
It had potential, right? It had potential to introduce, and maybe they're trying to do this, but introduce like a modern day Assassin's Creed style game. But I don't think it. I think they lost track of exactly what they wanted.
Yeah, that's fair. For me, the Animus stuff, like we have a friend who used to be on the podcast. He used to be our friend too, Stankbank, and he's legendarily never played Kingdom Hearts because of the gummy ship, right? For me, the Animus is a gummy ship-like thing. It sucks. It's dumb. It shouldn't exist. I get people wanting to be creative, but I don't think it added anything to the grand scheme, right? And I could imagine, to be honest with you, if I was the creator wanting to create something like the Animus as well and be like, see, now they can go through time and it's all one connected story. Because that does sound good when you talk about it. But when you play it, it's a different experience. Because like a lot of times I just want to keep playing the game and not worry about the Animus.
Yeah. Well, that was a big thing too when it first came out. I remember because they didn't talk anything about it.
It was a surprise.
It was a surprise.
I found out after playing Assassin's Creed 1.
You turn it on, you're like, what is this?
Yeah.
And I remember that actually made me stop playing it for quite some time. Eventually I went back to it, but yeah, it was a little disappointing.
Yeah. I'm hopeful, like Gerald, that Shadows will be good. I'm worried that Ubisoft doesn't have the stuff anymore. I was not a Valhalla fan. I loved Odyssey. I have not really enjoyed a Far Cry since 4. It's a weird company because when we started Super BS in 2017, I felt like they were a company that could do no wrong. They released Mario and Rabbids. They released Assassin's Creed Origins that year. They had just finished Far Cry 4 previously, right? Like they were just on a winning streak.
Yeah.
And now it's like, hey, they're shuttering 2 of their studios. They've tried multiple games of service that have failed. They've released a lot of games that they don't even market anymore. They're just multiplayer games. Like I can't even remember the Cube game that everybody talked about for like one day because they released it on mobile phones this summer and no one, like no marketing, nothing. I wish I could find the name of this game. I think it was 2024. It might have been 2023, but there was so many games. Yeah, it was a 2023 game, not 2024. But they released it, right? It was like a game where it's like you just didn't even know that they were making it. So, yeah.
Gerald, so you're a numbers guy. Let me ask you this question. If Assassin's Creed Shadows does do poorly, do you think that this could very well be the end of Ubisoft?
I think they'll strongly consider selling their assets if Shadows doesn't hit, because they're already laying off. They're already closing studios, laying off teams. They don't have an abundance of IPs that are performing well. They do have an abundance of name IPs, which could be sold to the highest bidder, or if they want to be just absorbed by another company like Microsoft.
Wasn't Tencent was interested in them, weren't they? Or was it
Tencent
Embracer
owns
Group?
a good stake in them right now.
Yeah.
So
they're talking about bringing it private if they don't sell it, is what the rumor is. Taking the whole company private. And the interesting thing about them selling it is, if they sell it to Microsoft, are they going to have a lot of like issues, right, with regulation? Because Microsoft already owns Activision, Blizzard, Bethesda, blah, blah, blah.
Right.
And if they sell to Sony, does Sony have the money? Right? Like we were talking, I don't even know if we talked about on this podcast, but there was a rumor that Sony was going to buy the Kadokawa Group, which they own From Software, or they're like part owners of From Software, or a bunch of things, right? Like there's something interesting. But I think the rumor was they didn't have the money to buy that group. Like that specific, some of the properties were too valuable or something like that. It was confusing to me, and it hasn't happened, so we won't know till that happens. But I just feel like Sony's in a really weird place because they don't have the arsenal that Microsoft has, right? Like they're a big company gaming, but overall they're like not even fractionally the size of Microsoft.
Yeah, and I mean, it would make sense for them to go to Microsoft because I feel like a majority of people play their games on Microsoft consoles.
I mean, you feel that way, I think, because of this podcast. I still think the majority actually nowadays plays on PlayStation, which is crazy. I think it's like 60% or 70%. I think might even be higher than that.
I think once the Game Pass future for Xbox kind of takes more grip and they finally get a full realization of how it works and blend it into an experience, you can play off your smartphone, your smart TV, etc., etc. Once that comes into place, as far as the technology catches up to it, as far as ahead of the ideas, and then the handheld, if that works, whoever gets the best handheld could be also something as far as the key is concerned. But yeah, I think that Xbox, they're not bailing out of the marketplace. I've kind of been more lenient and actually not as hard on my position on them doing what they're doing now and getting out of just the proprietary console business, just because of the fact that I think that the console business in and of itself could become archaic in maybe a decade or 15 years. People will be asking what's a console at that point in time in certain ways, and just be playing off their devices that they do use on a regular basis instead.
Yeah, I mean, I could see that future. I still think Microsoft has a ways to go. They still have to finish this idea that they've had for the last 4 years of they need a big game every quarter, right? This has been like a constant Microsoft narrative for forever. They just don't have the content coming in, which is crazy because they own like so many studios. So I'm hoping next year is looking wild for them. I'm hoping that finally kicks it off. I'm hoping what Call of Duty and Indiana kind of kick off their winning streak, right? Because it does seem to me like Indiana and Call of Duty coming so close together could be like a huge win for Microsoft. And then following that up with Doom the Dark Ages and all the other games they have lined up, I just feel like next year could be good. So we'll see. I mean, if that helps change the narrative, we'll see if consoles are important, like you said, in the future. I just feel like we're in a really weird place for gaming right now as a whole. It's it feels like there are too many titles and not enough interesting ones at the same time, right? Like not enough stuff to keep you engaged. And there's so many games, especially in the indie space, where it's like I don't even know what to pay attention to, right?
So it looks like so Valhalla sold over 1 billion copies.
No, not 1 billion copies.
No, sorry, not over 1 billion. Made over $1 billion.
Okay, yeah, I was about to say.
37% of their revenue from that game was on PlayStation, 19% on Xbox, and the rest of it was on PC.
Wow, so they had almost 50% on PC?
Yeah.
Wow, man, that's crazy.
I could be wrong. That's just coming from where that come from, NeoGAF, so I don't know how reliable that is. But
well, the rumor from Google and their X is 20 million copies is what it sold, right? Like that's wild, right? 20 million copies, and I believe the $1 billion was 2 years ago, so it's probably quite a bit more now, right?
More,
yeah. I don't hate Valhalla. I just still don't think it's the best. I think it's the worst of the 3 new ones.
It's too big.
Yeah, it's too big, and it's also not interesting enough to support how big it is, right? Like, there's something to be said when you decide to make a giant map, and then you also decide to make, I didn't get far into it, but from what I now know too much, multiple maps, right? And it's not even interesting doing the main map, right? Yeah. Like, that's a problem. So, anyways, didn't mean to bogart that.
No, you're good. So, real quick, you had talked about FromSoft, and they are now saying that there will not be any Elden Ring sequel. So you think that's a good idea, bad idea? What do you guys think?
Gerald, do you want to take it?
I'll start.
I'm an Elden Ring boy, so I'll end it.
Elden Ring 2, I think that's... you got to go where the money is. And I would say, as much as the creativity accounts for something, guys, at this point, with it being very tenuous, and most studios are only hanging on by a good game and with a good reception, because if you don't get a good game or make a good game with a good reception, you're going to be out. So I think it just at this point, you got to go ahead and go where the money is and make an Elden Ring 2 ASAP.
So I'm coming at you hot, Gerald. I'm gonna get at you, okay? Right. Elden Ring, you're scared. Elden Ring is from a company that historically has done whatever they want, and they've just proven time and time again that they can do it, right? Like, they first created Demon's Souls, a game that was like, I don't know, niche, but people were pretty interested in it. And then they created, and I got this gaming on the screen if you guys want to see one of the best looking games ever. And then they put out Dark Souls, right? Which pretty much redefined the genre of the action RPG and like the hardcore game. It created a new genre, the Souls-like, right? But then after that, you'd be like, well, they should just stick with Dark Souls. Then they did Bloodborne, right? A game that is not totally different, but it doesn't carry the Dark Souls name, and is then considered one of the best action RPGs, sells tons of copies. They go back to Dark Souls 3, and instead of calling Elden Ring Dark Souls 4, which they totally could have done, they could have done it because it is very similar to Dark Souls, they decide to create a totally new franchise with just, hey, we're going to change these names, do this thing. In theory, it's very similar, and it's incredible, right? For me, they have earned their trust. They are... the Larian Studios of the Japanese RPG companies, right? They do what they want, and if they decide to make a sequel, if they decide to make whatever the main title, like go back to Dark Souls, if they decide to make something brand new, I'm going to trust it. The only game of theirs I haven't picked up and absolutely loved, or just picked up at all yet, is the new Armored Core they released 2 years ago. Or last year, sorry, 2023.
Okay. Yeah, I was going to say, it doesn't seem like it was that long ago.
Yeah, no, 2023, last September. I wanted to pick it up. I just didn't have time. I used to love Armored Core games. I love the studio. I just think, hey, while I'd love an Elden Ring 2, if they decide not to do it, there's probably a good reason why.
Yeah, well, allegedly they did tease another Bloodborne game over this past week. So I don't know if that's what that tease was intended to be, but that's what a lot of people are taking it as.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see. Yeah, the Bloodborne tease that people are talking about, where it's like the PlayStation ad and then they Perseverance, and they show Bloodborne. I think Bloodborne fans just want that game to play well. And I'm hoping that Bloodborne sequel, whatever, anything comes out, but I'm not holding my breath, right? Like that Bloodborne is one of the few PS4 games that absolutely needed either a remaster or a PS4 Pro patch or a whatever. We never got it. It's the most necessary one ever. So, yeah. But I'm a loving me some Elden Rings.
All right, last thing for you guys today. All right, so Sony announced a Gran Turismo, basically what amounts to a Gran Turismo for babies. You play it; it's meant to get kids into the franchise. Has classes on turning and braking and things like that, and it comes with I think it opens with 15 cars. Good idea, bad idea, maybe something Forza can do as well. You think this will make more kids interested in racing sims? What do you think?
Is it free to play?
Yeah, it looks like it. So, I mean, they haven't said that, but I don't see why it wouldn't be.
Yeah, I don't know. I think anybody making anything right now is probably a good idea. I think we got to keep like throwing stuff at a wall, and if it doesn't cost them a ton of money and they make a funner version of Gran Turismo, I'm all for it. You know, if Forza Horizon didn't exist, I would probably still be playing Gran Turismo games because I loved Gran Turismo 2 as a kid. But once you make a game that's as much fun as Forza Horizon, it's really hard to go back to like the sim style racing games.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, you're right. I grew up on Gran Turismo 1. I still remember, having to do the same races over and over again, trying to get that
to get
Toyota
your money to get the new
Celica
cars.
souped up. Yep.
I know how that is, man.
Exactly. The last Gran Turismo has had its ups and downs, whereas Forza's been pretty steady all across
Gran
the board.
Turismo's been pretty popular over the years, Brank. So, there. Go ahead, Josh. Sorry.
Oh, sorry. No, I was going to say, Forza's been pretty
almost
steady.
Got you, my friend. I almost got you back. It's that the internet.
Am I talking?
There you go. All right.
You hear me?
Yes.
Am I here?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Sorry. Yeah. What I was saying is Gran Turismo has had its ups and downs, over the years, but Forza's always been pretty steady. Gran Turismo is, though, with this last game, getting back to what made Gran Turismo so great. And, if they're, I don't know if you guys saw the Gran Turismo movie, but, based on a true story, how they were recruiting.
It was great.
It was. And they were using Gran Turismo to recruit people to actually drive race cars. So, I mean, they are, if they do things like that and they're able to get train the next generation of drivers up through these racing sims, I don't see why it wouldn't be a good idea.
Yeah, I'm all for, like I said, just more game creation, right? I don't really see a loss when it comes to like making a new game. Even like a game like Concord, right? The only thing I see for a loss there is like, oh, you're going to have to close a lot of companies because you decided to bet big. As long as this isn't like a huge resource drain, by all means, make more stuff that's more accessible for more people, right? Like make more Astrobots, make more Gran Turismos, make non-third-person action story linear games. Because like, yes, Sony does those well, but we've gotten a lot of them. Just make some other stuff, That's that for me is like one of the reasons why I'm actually pretty excited to play Indiana Jones is because it's Machine Games and they make really unique games. The Wolfenstein games were really cool. Like the fact that I'm not getting like an Uncharted or whatever for me is a pro. It's a pro, like a positive. I know more people would be like, oh, I'd rather just have Indiana Jones be Uncharted. I would rather have it be this totally random weird thing that they're making, a first person puzzle game.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, and it Indiana Jones, it looks great. So that's actually one I was not that excited about until Gerald started getting excited about it. I was like, oh, maybe this is something, worth looking into. So I
mean, the fact that it's part of Game Pass makes it such an easy decision, right? Like that's the one thing that Microsoft, and maybe it's hurting them, I don't know, but I haven't purchased a Microsoft game in 3 years now. The closest I did was pay the $30 for Starfield.
Yeah.
That's it. Like I just don't buy their games anymore. There's no need.
I'm in the same boat. Yeah, the last 10 games I think I bought have been on the PS5.
Yeah, I mean I did buy Visions of Mana on my Series X, but I mean like Microsoft games, I haven't purchased any of like those games because it's just like and if you're just using your Xbox for Game Pass, which it sounds like a lot of people are, you don't need to purchase games on anymore.
Value in itself. All right. Well, I think we've hit all the bases tonight.
We did it.
Scored
Home
those
runs.
home runs. Yeah. I think we are next week. We're gonna do a Christmas episode, and then we're gonna jump into our game of the year stuff. So, yeah.
Do you want to do it right after the
but,
VGAs or no?
Sure. Well,
I
guess,
thought we'd do the Christmas one before the VGAs, right? And then because we'll probably want to talk about those
Okay.
VGAs when those are there.
Okay, because I'm just saying because I don't want we'll be like a week late after the VGAs are done. So
Well, we could talk about the VGAs. I'm talking about our personal games of the
yeah,
year.
that's cool. Whenever you guys want to,
Whatever you guys want, and by you we mean you listeners, JSJ. Whatever you want, specifically about getting blown by 40. Okay, that's crazy of you, JSJ. So I've been reading all your comments, and I love basketball. It's my favorite of all the sports. So I'm a pro Lakers fan since Mailman himself. So that's why I'm on this podcast. Larry the Mailman Jr. That's my number one basketball.
Wasn't Karl Malone the mailman, or was that John Stockton? It was one of the two, right?
I don't remember.
I don't know these things.
Gerald doesn't remember either, and he doesn't.
Oh,
like
yes,
Lakers,
I do.
So.
You can catch us on the Lakers Fast Break.
Yeah, you catch me on there and catch me outside, okay, as they say on Dr. Phil. But I would love us to play NBA Street Volume 1 and Volume 2. Okay, that is what's important because those are actually good NBA games.
Inside Drive, man, that was it for me.
I don't remember Inside Drive. JSJ's asking us one last question before we go. Astrobot or Black Myth Wukong for Goaty? I mean, for me, it's Astrobot, hands down. You boys?
That's where I'm at too, Astrobot. That was my vote for Game of the Year.
I'd have to go along with you guys. I haven't played it, but to me it looks more fun and it looks more involving. I have a different Game of the Year in mind, but I'm not going to give that information just yet.
Oh, hooray! We got surprises!
We got a spreadsheet, guys.
Oh, we got spreadsheets. You don't think we have spreadsheets? Oh, we got them. Just don't ask us to show you our homework because we're not going to do it because we got them.
Yes. All right. Until next time, be safe, be cool, and just be people. All right. Peace.
Walks further down the street with the brim pulled way down low. Ain't no sound but the sound of his feet. Machine guns ready to go. Are you ready? Hey, are you ready for this? Are you hanging on the edge of your seat? Out of the doorway, the bullets rip to the sound of the beat. Yeah. Another one bites the dust. Another one bites the dust. And another one gone. And another one gone. Another one bites the dust. Yeah. Hey, we're gonna get you too. Another one bites the dust. How do you think I'm gonna get along without you when you're gone? You took me for everything that I had and kicked me out of my own. Are you happy? Are you satisfied? How long can you stand the heat? Out of the doorway, the bullets rip to the sound of the beat. Look out! Another one bites the dust. Another one bites the dust. And another one gone. And another one gone. Another one bites the dust. Hey, I'm gonna get you too. Another one bites the dust. Hey! Oh, take it! Dust! Bite the dust! Hey! Another one bites the dust. Another one bites the dust. Ow! Another one bites the dust. Hey!